Hello, everybody. No. Fuck. Oh, currency wars reset? Wait, no, it didn't. It's just bugging me for no reason. Okay. The Robin stare? The Robin stare. Goes crazy. So have Dahlia log in, chill. Chill, 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 chill. Rest in peace, my granny. She got hit by a bazooka. Kaboom. Kablow. I said don't join. Why are people joining, man? Nobody ever listens. How many pulls does this account have? It's... I can't say the number, Uni. I can't say it. Otherwise my chat will go rabid. Yeah. Wait, actually, no. I did just get a pull from the daily login, so I'm at 68 now. Oh, yeah. I can say it. I can say it. I wanted to ask you if you think E2 Sparkle is worth it if the event gives a free E1. Yeah. It's 30% defense shred. That shit's strong. Is Ashvale gonna be a sub for later version characters? Yes, most likely. Can't wait for this account to fold for E2 Phanon. We good over here, Uni. You know what I was actually thinking about, Uni? Because, like, I was thinking about it, right? Now that we got even, like, Acheron on selectors, if in the future there's ever a Phanon selector, I might genuinely just get E2 Phanon for free on my main account. Because it has an E0 S1 sitting there. I'm going to play the long game. How much do you think Ashvale's numbers will decrease? I don't think they'll decrease. There's no reason to decrease them. He just needs to get his charges buffed. Don't you think he's too strong? No. Not at all. The last follow-up DPS was 1.5 years ago. 2 versions ago. Even with how strong he himself is, as a hyper carry, he isn't stronger than the meta ones. And as a sub DPS, I mean, the teams just suck and need way too much investment. Because he has no DPS currently. Guy doesn't need to get nerfed at all. They're not gonna nerf his damage. They're not nerfing his E1 either. Yeah, exactly. It's like his hyper carry does work. It is solid, but it isn't the greatest. And Nikador, this feels weird to say for a hunt character, but genuinely, Nikador is his best boss to go up against because of the way that his follow up works. It targeting the lowest HP mobs, it'll auto target the spears, and because the spears have less damage, he's able to hit like a certain damage threshold where he can just one shot them after using ult, which makes low cost clears possible. But normally that guy is not he's not that strong as a hyper carry, and as a sub DPS he's just no. Like older DPSs are too weak to use him. Rest in peace, my granny. She got hit by a bazooka. Kaboom. Kablow. Yeah, but E1 Jade can make anyone look good, Uni, in Pure Fiction, which is like, uh, all right, what does she want? I know the relics and planar, but like, son. Okay, there we go. So she wants 135 or a little lower with her light cone. 120% and 3600 attack. Okay. So it's like the same as all these guys. It's like yes. Please. I mean, it's like whatever. Alright, I need to farm more. Good luck on your new account, thanks. She's physical. Physical with attack percent and effect hit rate. Yeah, that's good. Hopefully you can roll speed, but like, that might be asking too much. Good luck on your new accounts, thanks. Where's Jeppy? Using this guy as a filler. uh That's actually really good rolls. I'll take it. So we got boots down, kinda, and we got sphere down. And I gotta work on the rest of these. How much I need to go to Nihility character. What was that one like on this one? 40% effect hit rate. So I need to get a little more. Okay. Does Asheville want attack or ER rope for sub DPS? I'd imagine ER. Well, he probably does as much damage as Fei Xiao. So it's hard to say. Charges will be very slow with him though. After, at least after the initial. Use Kafka Cone on her or Swan. On Heisland's Kafka Cone? Wouldn't this mess up speed tuning though? I farmed an Eagle set for Kafka overnight, by the way. I farmed this and I had 0 Eagle relics and 0 Lushaka yesterday. And I farmed all this in one day. A lot of it is mid, but like it works. When are we getting Silverwolf beta? 4.1 like always. Or maybe a little earlier. Because it's shortened, I don't know. Wait, actually. I could use Kafka Cone on Swan. Because currently the speed tuning with Swan Kafka is wrong. Because I had really bad luck with relics yesterday. Okay, so you guys can make fun of me. Yesterday, I used 20 self-modeling resin on variable dices because I got a god tier like orb or rope from one of my characters. And in those like 6 rerolls, I didn't get a single speed roll. Like the goal was to get as much speed as possible. I didn't get a single speed roll on any of the 6 variable dice rerolls. They went to every other stat of speed every time. Yeah, this should work. This should actually work because it increases the speed and it puts my Swan over Kafka, which was like a problem I was kind of having. So now I have Swan higher speed over Kafka. Kafka's there, and then Heisland's I get at like whatever she is. And then I'll put Swan's Lycone. Wait, yeah, I'll put Swan's Lycone on Heisland's. That fixes the speed tuning issue. Yeah, uni for sure. Kafka has Eagle, so she's gonna be faster no matter what. No, I don't want Kafka to like. I want I want Black Swan just a little higher than Kafka for the ramp up. But yes, Eagle with tutorial Kafka, like yes, she gets action advance, but I prefer Black Swan to have higher speed anyways. I think with this, she probably hits a 160 speed threshold. How much? It stacks 3 times, so that's 9.6. It's like 14% speed boost. This probably puts her at 160, which hits a threshold. I'm just doing like fast builds, uni. I'm not trying to do the most optimal builds because keep in mind these characters had no relics yesterday. So I'm just going for whatever is easier to attain. I got speed boots before I got attack boots for Swan. Yes, yes, I've seen the zero cycle. It doesn't matter. Nikador shills him. Yes. Is your Robin E1? No. Kaboom. Kablow. Kaboom. Rest in peace, my granny. She got hit by a bazooka. Oh yeah, I also built Archer. Archer's scuffed still, but at least he's at near 100% crit rate with some crit damage, so it's some. And then I'm running him with Silver Wolf. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, right. What do I even put on her? Pearls? Because it's an E1 Sylvie. So it's fine if I don't get the tutorial energy anyways. No, I'm not going to go for E2 Fugue. Dahlia is more important. For sure, Uni. It's annoying. Who's the character you spent the most money or pulls for? Evernight on my main account. No, I didn't drop the accounts. Oh my god, you guys are crazy, bro. No, I didn't drop them. I play 160 Kafka, 160 Heislands with E2 Robin, so speed is not a problem. Always at the speed Eidolons. Buddy, nobody's grabbing an E2 Robin in the Big 25. Drop Brick Noxa account. My Anoxa account is probably my strongest account, which is hilarious because it's the only free to play one. The second that account gets Cyrene Ceredra, it's able to get true 0 cycles. No, I'm not pulling Ashvale. I already made an entire video on what I'd pull on this account.
The tour is over, and it's time for some rest.
Robin rerun? I wouldn't even bother investing in Robin anymore, dude. I don't even say it because, like, oh, you should never invest into her. But I think we're reaching the point where she's getting close to being added for free somewhere. I could be wrong, but I do feel like we're getting close to that point. It's not a fold. I already know what polling plans I have. There's no reason for me to get Ashvale. This account doesn't even have like a good third slot, really. Saba. Do you think they are going to be adding a way for allies that kill enemy mobs to give a few stacks to trigger resurgence for seal? No. I don't think Blade is going to be for the Herda team. I'm going to be honest, like, I don't understand why people think this way. A new version's characters aren't going to be made for older characters from a previous version. Like, this shit is rare, bro. There's only a few exceptions every single version. Blade is more than likely a hyper carry. Dahlia, once again, there's a few exceptions, but that's it. Who was Cypher made for? Archer. I literally said this. I said this before we got fuck all info about Cypher. I predicted that she'd be a best in slot for Archer, which she is. Do you suggest E1 Yao going over Lycone? Yeah. That's Cope. They don't make characters for collab units. I mean, it's just not Cope. Like, are we serious? She was right before Archer. Second half of the patch. Archer is free, so obviously they want to sell someone as opposed to Saber who isn't free and they can already sell. And that's why they put Cypher in there. Cypher was also there to like bait people into using their polls if they really wanted Archer best in slot, but people didn't want to do it because there was a 200 pull requirement for his free light cone on 3.4. Like, if you remove Archer, Cypher is technically only a buff for like Acheron, not even really a buff for Fei Xiao all that much. Like, are we being honest, dude? Like, let's get real. It was definitely for Archer. No, there wasn't ever a leak about that, Matos. At least not a reliable one. Everybody pulled Cypher for Acheron and Fei Xiao. So? This doesn't mean the character wasn't made with the new character in mind. Did most people pull Tribby for specifically the Herda? No. She was so general that people pulled her for fucking everybody. It's the same thing with Cypher. Just because a certain fan base can benefit from a character doesn't mean the character wasn't made for someone else in mind. It's literally this entire Ashvale thing. Like, who does Ashvale buff? Older follow-up DPSs. Are you now going to say that Ashvale was made in mind with the older follow-up DPSs because they decided to pull him for that sub DPS capability over his future main DPS? No. You wouldn't say that just because he's a buff to older characters indirectly. No need to get so pressed. It's not getting pressed. It's just, if you think about it, Cypher was obviously meant for Archer. They could have put her anywhere else in the version, given her any type of different synergy to be worse with Archer. It's super easy to make a character synergize with follow-up in Acheron without synergizing with Archer. It's like super fucking easy. But she ended up being the most synergistic, still is the best third slot a long fucking time later. And I don't think she's going to get replaced anytime soon. Silverwolf is better maybe in a few scenarios, but like Silverwolf literally had to get buffed for this to even be the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my opinion, it's just crazy to think, given the banner placement, that they didn't make Cypher and place her there with Archer in mind. In my opinion, it's obvious. Oh my god. Just think of Sparksy as Anoxa, Abby. I ran out of Pepsi, fuck. You hear about rewards for Bleach Hill residents? Yeah. Yeah, 4.1 is only 4 weeks. So we get Silverwolf faster. And we get Silverwolf Beta faster. Dude. Okay, listen. I am warning you guys right now. I am warning you guys right now. Be prepared for the amount of farming I'm about to do when Yao Guang is leaked as a best in slot in Silverwolf's team. I know it's obvious to most people with a brain, but the amount of people who have been coping so hard that Sparkle is going into this team, I am farming the fuck out of this topic when that beta comes out and the team comes out. Why do you run around in circles in your videos? Because I want to, and I'm too lazy to edit anything. Sparkle makes 0 sense? Bro, Everly, I made an entire Reddit post going fully in depth on every single synergy that Silverwolf, Sparksy, Yao Guang has. And admittedly, if it weren't for Sparksy being there, Yao Guang wouldn't be anywhere near as SP positive, right? But we know Sparksy is a Silverwolf sub DPS. So I like mentioned all this synergies. I got downvoted to all hell on the Silverwolf Reddit because they so badly want Buff Sparkle to be on that team instead of Yao Guang. Like, I got downvoted to all hell. And they, when I asked them to like give me their own points, obviously, you know what they said? They said there's no way they'd make a best in slot for same path characters, best in slot for 2 or more teams. Hyacine, Cyrene, RMC. They're like, oh, this has never happened before. They've never made a support best in slot for multiple DPSs. Like, oh, what the fuck, bro? And then they said, wait, here's the best part. Remember, in my recent video, I go in depth on how much Yao Guang generates SP, right? In a team with Silverwolf and Sparksy, within 300 AV, she would be able to generate about 18 skill points in that AV. And then they said, what Sparksy and Silverwolf need is an SP generating elation support. So they think that 18 skill points generated in a 0 cycle isn't enough, and we're going to get another elation support who far surpasses the SP gen of current Yao Guang. That is the people I have to deal with, bro. They genuinely think they're getting a character, one character, by the way. They're not, here's the thing. If these people could think at all, sure, there might be a support who does more SP gen, and that support is Yao Guang. Because if they make SP gen on Silverwolf Elation skill, or on the Elation sustain in the future, she would technically generate more SP. But these people genuinely think that Yao Guang needs to give Elation damage buffing, needs to generate 30 skill points, so Sparksy can do 8 to 9 skill points skills every single turn, needs to have ER gen, and can't be best in slot in another team. Otherwise, that implies she won't be best in slot for Silverwolf. That, like, bro, these they are basically saying, I think the best comparison I can make, right, is to Cyrene. What these people want is if Cyrene is what she is currently, but on top of this, she also healed to attribute towards the Cassie ult, right? If Cyrene also had healing ability, and then also had her own Memo Sprite, in which she could contribute more stacks to her own ult and healing shit, right? Like, they want a character who is Thanos, who can do fucking everything by themselves. Yeah, don't use logic, Rando. Don't use logic, man. They don't want to hear that logic. Oh, obviously you'd want to use an AoE buffer with a mono elation team where everyone does damage. No, Sparkle better. Sparkle Hyper Gary buff. Sparkle SP gen. I'm fucking done, bro. I'm actually done. No, the Yao Guang Tribi comparison is also terrible, which, by the way, the main pushers against Yao Guang being bad on that Reddit, guess what? They also commented this is a Tribi situation. I swear, bro. I swear. Oh my god. I feel like an elitist. I'm sorry. It feels so bad because sometimes I feel like an elitist. And sometimes maybe I get a bit of an ego from that when I form like my own opinions as compared to others. But it's like, there's no way you can come to this conclusion, dude. Like, Tribi was a Herda support. She was just so general. And then people for no reason assume that that would be Cassie's best in slot. Yao Guang. Oh my god. This was the other thing they said. They said Yao Guang is too generalist. And that's why she's going to get power crept. What? 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 What do you mean? How? How? She only buffs Elation. How is that generalist? She's best in slot for 2 DPSs in the game. Maybe 3. Are we serious? Oh my god. I'm done, bro. I'm done. I'm losing my mind over fucking Reddit discussions on character value. I'm just gonna jump off into styrofoam. What people mean by Tribby situation, Randy, isn't that the character is bad, but that the character in the future will get a best in slot who is better. So like for example, I already predicted that Cassie didn't have Tribby as a best in slot. Most other people were hoping that Tribby was staying in there, but people were caught by surprise that their Tribbies ended up losing to Cyrene in the future, and so they felt like slighted by it. So now they assume that every single time some niche support comes out, they're like getting scammed, and there's going to be another niche support in the future that power creeps that niche support. Uh, and yeah, that's basically this entire Yao Guang situation. I believe the pre-sale. I wholeheartedly believe that Yao Guang is premium EMC. Wholeheartedly. Because if you guys watch my recent video, it makes sense. RMC was like a hyper carry buffer with action advance and shit. And he usually MC, listen, MC is usually the introductory character towards new damage buffing, right? This has been historical. HMC was the first character to introduce us into Super Break, right? RMC was the first one to introduce us to Drew damage. So why is it that for the first time we have a limited character, Yao Guang, who seems to be universal for all Elation characters? She's the one who introduced us to Elation damage. It wasn't EMC this time. She's the one that did it. So, on top of this, she's an AoE buffer, right? If we make the comparison between RMC Cyrene, it's like the exact same. You know what I'm saying? Like, Yao Guang is stuck to a certain path of buffing, but has AoE buffing to likely be best in slot for mono Elation where everybody does damage, right? RMC and Cyrene is like the same thing. Yeah, exactly. And this is also why I believe, right? Because people are like, oh, we need to wait until the EMC upgrade so we can replace EMC. But, like, let's be honest. Did Cyrene really replace RMC? No, not really. In fact, for a lot of people, RMC actually gained value from Cyrene because it's hard to find another action advancing Chrysos air support in the game. So RMC's value actually increased being ran alongside Cyrene for a ton of Chrysos air teams, which is exactly why I think it is that EMC plus Yao Guang is on Evanesia's team. Like, that's definitely just why. But I don't think EMC is going to get an upgrade in the future. I really don't. I truthfully think it's just an Elation sustain and maybe another DPS, and we're done with the path. At most, what I will say, at most, I could maybe concede the possibility that there is an EMC upgrade and Hoyo has decided to take a different route where they realized, oh, you know, maybe we made a mistake not really making a limited RMC that's like a hyper carry buffing action advancer for the new Elation path. Maybe we'll make one of those so that they can be best in slot for Evanesia, right? I still don't think this character would be best in slot over Yao Guang in a Silverwolf team because obviously you want an AoE buffer for mono Elation, but in an Evanesia team, maybe. I could see it. Yeah, there's a Herda shop cone for EMC that says when ally buffs a character, keep in mind one ally. So you know both EMC's ult and skill only targets one ally, it'll give them like an extra 24% elation damage bonus at max superimposition. So he is a hyper carry buffer. Who do you think will be the Phanon of version 4? Himiko. You think we might get 2 MC paths this version? No. Because even though we're going to a different planet for the second half, it's still the Elation storyline for both planets. It's just that the second half focuses on it less. Why don't you think we won't get a hyper carry support upgrade for Evanesia? Sampo SP being DPS makes no sense with how many main DPSs we already have a lack of slots in current teams. Because why would they go out of their way to make teammates for Evanesia? Like, just think about it. How many teammates did My Day get? Anoxa got lucky with Ceridra, but Ceridra, people need to remember this. Ceridra was not made for Anoxa. Ceridra was made for Phanon, and then ended up synergizing with Anoxa, and then later they made Cyrene's kit so that it buffs Ceridra, which buffed Anoxa. Like, if you aren't a main push, you are not going to get a best-in-slot support for every single teammate slot on your team. I'm sorry. It's not happening. Yeah, Evernight is still stuck using RMC. If you remove RMC from an Evernight team with Cyrene, that shit is a noticeable drop-off. Like, people assuming every single character, every single DPS is going to get a full best-in-slot team to cover for every weakness. No. This has always been specific to main push characters. Always. It's been specific to them. Anoxa got side buffed from Phanon's team. Let's just be honest, bro. Like, Anoxa got side buffed because Phanon wanted the same teammates. Like, I would believe in this entire Evanesia is going to get a full best-in-slot team thing if they did it for, like, someone like Evernight. Or if it wasn't, like, an indirect thing. But most of the time, it's indirectly. Evanesia was main push before Silverwolf, which means she'll get the same shilling. No, she won't. She won't. Anon Leaks made a leak recently already saying this is not the case. And I posted it on my community post. I'll go to it right now because I posted it. I'll go to it right now. Yep. Hoyoverse switched upper and lower banners in 4.0 and 4.2. But Sparksy was still treated as an upper banner character since we were too close to 4.0 for them to change anything significant. But in 4.2, Hoyoverse changed their position, their status, their story, their animations, and their meta relevance since they have more time to adjust to 4.2. What do you think that means? That is Anon's leak from 2 days ago. That means they gave all the shilling, all the meta relevance, all the story relevance, the animation, everything that Evanesia was supposed to be, because she was far away enough, it got traded to Silverwolf. So now Silverwolf is getting the Mono Elation team. She's getting the shilling, the meta relevance, the importance, and Evanesia isn't. Evanesia is more like an Anoxa. This doesn't mean Evanessia is going to be bad, by the way. Like, she's still going to be strong. She's going to be the first, technically, like, main push. Well, no, second, right after Silver Wolf, because Wolf will probably be the first banner. But, like, you get what I'm saying, right? She's still going to be strong. But to think that both of the characters are on the Annie are going to be getting full main push separate teams from each other when we currently have a follow-up team in the works, a Himiko team in the works, we have a possible Blade team in the works. Like, there's a shit ton of teams that still need to be finished and, you know, get a few teammates. It's crazy to think that they'd make a, like, multiple Elation replacements more, in my opinion. I think it's crazy to think that. No, Silver Wolf will just be the first half because every single Annie main push is the first half. That's kind of how it goes. So she's like 3 weeks earlier as compared to when Evanessia dropped. I did pull Kenpachi, yeah. No. I haven't even logged into Bleach Soul Resonance for like a couple days. I've been a little lazy on it recently. But yeah. Like, I just don't think there's going to be another EMC upgrade. I do think there's going to be an EMC upgrade, which is Yao Guang in like 2 days. But outside of that, no. I just don't see it. Actually, when is the patch? Yeah, it's about like 2 days. 2 or 3 days. It doesn't have to be more than one Elation hypercarry support, which is not unlikely at all, especially with the third main push we don't know anything about. Yeah, but it's like, dude, there's no history to go off of it. Like, this is, you are going against basically the history of this game and the reliability of leakers versus your headcanon that they might add an Evanessia support because I think so. Like, what do you think I'm going to side with? I don't care about what people think. I go with what's more factual and logical. Also, for being honest, if someone is to get a future Elation support, one of the last Elation characters on the version, who is more likely to gain from that? Is it Evanessia or is it Silver Wolf? Because the last time I remember, when the game chilled on Remembrance characters for a bit, but then released 2 of them near the end of the version, they were both for the main push and not for someone else. Oh, I have no doubt that they could pull a Cyrene where the support possibly benefits both. But the thing is, it'll benefit the main push more than it benefits the other if they do go that route. But, like, here's the thing. Yao Guang is staying. It doesn't matter, right? Because theoretically, if you believe they'll make a hyper carry support, then this obviously leaves Elation Sustain. So that's probably going to be, let's say there's 2 Elation characters. So there's no Yao Guang replacement then for Mono Elation. Because then you need 3 new Elation releases, which basically completely goes against what Anon said, that we're going to be getting like no fucking Elation units for the rest of this version, with a few exceptions, right? So it's like, pick your poison. What do you think the Elation characters are going to be? A hyper carry support to replace EMC, Are they going to be the Elation Sustain, which this one is definitely the most likely out of all of them? Or are they going to be like a Yao Guang replacement and Sparksy replacement? Like, the third main push shouldn't be a DPS, but 2.X's 3 main pushes were DPSs. What is this logic? Fei Xiao was a main push. The main pushes of 2.X were Acheron, Firefly, and Fei Xiao. Like, where do you guys even get this from?
The tour is over.
I don't think Yao will get replaced. EMC is the only replaceable slot in the new best in slot team leagues besides Sustains. Well, yeah, but I said it's possible too, Ben. Like, I remember I literally said a little bit ago that there is a possibility that they could release a hyper carry replacement since they are changing some things up for this version. However, if I had to pick and choose which was most likely, I think they're just dropping an Elation Sustain and they're calling it a day. I don't know. Because, like, it's kind of going against past history to say that they'd make a direct replacement that gets rid of the need for EMC. Like, break teams still use HMC because of how well they run Sustainless. Cyrene, sure as hell, did not fucking replace RMC. So it's hard for me to put faith in the fact that they'd release an actual Elation hypercarry support for Evanesia, especially since now her meta relevance isn't what it used to be since it got traded to Silverwolf. The only reason I can kind of see it is because Yao Guang is definitely going to benefit Silverwolf more than she benefits Evanesia. I can already tell. Like an AoE buffer in a team where everybody does damage versus a team where like you're probably going to be a hyper carry. I think that's what Evanesia is being led up to. I don't think Yao Guang is going to be as important in an Evanesia team as compared to Silverwolf team. So it's like maybe I could see it because you can make the argument Yao Guang was made for Silverwolf mainly. And same goes for Sparksy. Maybe. I wonder why they flipped them. IRL shit. Politics and stuff. Oh yeah, Hamdi GCAT got sued. Or like they're currently getting sued. Yeah, the Elation Sustain will probably just be like a Hyacine copy paste, but translated to Elation. Like they'll probably have Elation damage buffing. They'll have an Elation skill that does a bit of damage and as well benefits the team somehow. Eh. I don't know if they'd give the Elation Sustain what Yao Guang's ult does. I don't think so. But their ult will probably do something cool. Probably give a special buff. Is the patch tomorrow? No. Longer. 2 days, I think. 2 or 3 days. Energy regen? The only reason I'm skeptical on energy regen is because like Silverwolf SP doesn't give a shit about energy regen. And I know they'd make an Elation Sustain more shield to Silverwolf than anybody else. Yeah, punchline Gen Uni. That's what I was just thinking in my mind. If they make an elation sustain for mainly Silverwolf, they would have some level of punchline generation. Doesn't need to be significant, or high levels of SP positivity. High levels of SP positivity. Because if you have Yao Guang's SP positivity, you have Silverwolf SP either doesn't consume SP or is positive, and then you make an elation who's also positive. We are now in a reality where mono elation can actually do like 8-9 skill points Sparksy every single turn on skill for punchline gen. So it could go either way. Elation sustained to increase AHA speed. I feel like that's kind of Yao Guang's gimmick though. Like she doesn't increase the speed, but she does create her own AHA instant. I don't know if they'd like double down on it. How much HP do you think MOC will have at the end of this version? One second. So from here to here, the HP inflation from 3.0 to now is less than 100%. It's about 80%. So if we assume the same thing, then just add 80% HP inflation going into the future near the end of the version. %80 increase on, I think it was like 26 or 27 million. Let me see again. Yeah, 26 million HP. $38 million? Yeah, near 40. I can believe that. I mean, here's the thing. Okay. I don't think this level of HP inflation is too bad. Now, before you guys raid my house and, tie me up, hear me out, right? If we look at 2.x and their level of HP inflation, it went from, where is it? Here. It went from 4 million to 10 million, 11 million. So they more than doubled their HP inflation in 2.x. So percentage wise, we've gotten less HP inflation, but also copies are significantly stronger for some characters, right? Like E2 Faye makes him 2.5x as strong. So it's like you put 2 cost into a Phanon, and now he's technically clearing better than he would have at E0 a year ago. I think that's not too bad. I don't know. Y'all can cook me for that if you want to. I think Eidolons in this game are just so broken to the point that it's very easy to overcome something like 80% HP inflation over a year. Still bad. Let's not defend. It's not defending though. It's just a reality. Like even technically an E1 Aggie, which is like a 70 to 80% jump. Like you get an E1 and she's made up for the HP inflation in the past year. Same with E1 Heislands and like a few other characters. It's still like obviously I don't advocate for HP inflation, but it's so easy to overcome in this game. I think okay, I'd be more critical of the HP inflation if they didn't give free limited 5 stars probably. But because they've basically given Archer's entire best in slot team for free at this point, I don't even think it's that big of a deal. Because like before, it's like, yeah, we have 4 character teams. You know, pull count isn't the highest in the world, although it's solid. Like I can understand someone struggling to clear endgame content and deal with HP inflation. But at this point, with getting a free Archer buff Sparkle, which just fucking shits on everything for one team, and then you only need to focus on one other one, I don't think it's that bad. I don't know. Yeah, I've had that thought myself a few times, Everly. If HSR's endgame didn't do this HP inflation, low key, people would be much less interested in character meta and discussion around it. And to be honest, I know this too because like they only started doing this crazy HP inflation during Penacony, and like mid Penacony and earlier, nobody really knew how to optimize characters. Like back then, doing a 135 DPS, 134 action advancer was unheard of. Like people thought that was sweaty. These days it's the standard. So it's like back when nobody had to care about meta at all, they didn't really like meta discussion. They didn't like talks about HP inflation. They didn't like talks about character value. And then, unironically, when they fucking pumped up the HP inflation in 2.x, meta became like one of the most popular things in this entire community. And CCs grew off of it. I don't like justifying inflation and power creep. I'm not justifying it though. I'm just saying I don't think it's that big of a deal because of how much they've been giving and how strong Eidolons are. Like you can definitely say that it's bad. Like I agree. Like I'd prefer no HP inflation. Fuck. Like I kind of want to use an E0 seal and still clear endgame content without needing fucking bullshit levels of cost investment into supports. Like I don't disagree. It makes characters fall off faster. But recent free characters buffs seemingly being more frequent and they're not scared of buffing standard characters and less popular ones. Free Archer and Sparkle, like I know it is time limited, but it's like they're probably going to keep doing these teams anyways in the future and giving more free teams. Like I don't know, man. It's hard to complain about the current state, especially since they seem to be normalizing one character patches a lot more than they used to as well. Like, keep in mind, before, like, we got these single character patches near the end of version 3 and 4.1, the only single character patch this game ever had was Rappa. That was the only one in the history of the game. And people asked for more single character patches so they could save more pulls, and, like, they did that. Within 4 patches, 3 of those patches are going to be one new limited character. Maybe if this game betrays my expectations, like somewhere in version 4, yeah, I could change my mind again and be a lot more harder on it. But right now, it's just so easy. It's kind of like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, keep in mind, this account, right? You really need to, like, think about this. Silverwolf is just there. From probably 1.x or 2.x with Acheron on her rerun. Because they baited a Silverwolf rerun before Jiaoqiu came out for Acheron, which is like GG's. So I have a Silverwolf here. I got free E0 S1 Archer from just pulling on Sunday in 3.4, right? So because of this, I've literally gotten a free team. It's not even exaggeration. I've gotten a free team. Silverwolf, who had no place on this account before, now has a place with this guy. And then we get a free buff sparkle in the next patch. I have a full meta 3.x team instantly for free. I mean, I already have an E1 Kafka. I mean, I may have taken the E1 Kafka. Okay, no. Who am I fooling, bro? I was not taking the E1 Kafka even if I was still at E0. But you know what I'm saying? Like, even Kafka can get someone into dot. No, yeah, I know, Uni. That's what I said earlier, Uni. Like, I would 100% be mad if I was like a hyper fan of some older character and they needed ungodly levels of investment to keep up with the new shilling and HP inflation. Like, I get it. Seal went from like doing the lowest cost zero cycles in the game for like a year or two to now needing disgusting levels of cost. Now, this will probably change when she gets buffed. She'll probably go back to being some fucking demon buff Seal with better multipliers and resurgence. But yeah, like it was probably rough for Seal mains throughout the entirety of version 3. Yeah, Dill as well. Jing Liu. I mean, Jing Liu got buffed, but like, eh. Jing Liu's buff was probably one of the worst this game's ever done. Can Dot work without Heislands? It can maybe clear, but it doesn't work the best. Like, it, anytime someone talks about Dot, you need to immediately think of Kafka and Heislands in the same team. Is kind of how it goes. They should just make Jingliu SP and then it's Skirk. Yeah, exactly, Dragon Ball. Isn't it a bad sign we won't get more elation units when you ragged on the assumption Casto not getting more shill than Phanon due to her nearly completed team? Isn't it a bad sign? No, I don't think so. I mean, we will get more elation units. It's just probably an elation sustained and maybe something else near the end of the version. So like Silverwolf is still getting kind of the main push. She still is getting teammate upgrades. And she'll probably be like the main one they look at to get buffed when they make said elation sustain, right? So I do still think Silverwolf, unless they make another elation DPS at the end of version 4, will be the strongest elation team in the game, right? Like, she's getting the shilling. In fact, I like this way of them selling the characters more, right? I like this way, the way they did it. I've already talked about it. They made it so that the first DPS of a new path isn't bricked and has somewhere else to go in terms of a sub DPS. So it's not an Aglaia situation. You can run her main DPS if you want, but she's going to have an even better team with the Annie character where she's a sub DPS. And then instead of making people wait until near the end of the version for the MC upgrade, they just put the MC upgrade at the beginning so you can be fully aware of how valuable this character will be for these DPSs instead of having to play the guessing game with the leakers, right? Because, like, let's be honest, if, let's say, Yao Guang was moved to near the end of the version like Cyrene, Anon would be baiting people. Like, you actually think Anon would come out on the Annie and be like, yeah, by the way, Yao Guang's going to be best in slot for all these characters. Like, no, these leakers are dicks, bro. They won't tell you what character is best in slot with who until, like, close to their release, usually, right? So, them putting Yao Guang here, making Sparksy the way they did, making Yao Guang the way they did, this is way better than version 3 in terms of meta. They made the character kits 100 times better and more useful and more versatile. Oh yeah, I agree. I don't think Aglaia is brick. Like, Aglaia is one of the weakest Ampho DPSs, but like she also has some of the best vertical investment on her teams too. Like similar to a Dot situation, you have E1 Aggie, you have E1 Robin or Tribby. You can run Cyrene if you want to, and like there's E2 Cyrene, right? If you run Sunday, Don Hung PT has that strong ass E1 and E2. Buffed Wowo might be better than Don Hung PT now, so that's another buff for Aggie. Like, Aggie isn't bad, right? It's not like characters who don't get shilled or are near the strongest are bricked. But people usually want the characters they like to last the longest, which is why people have, like deep rooted hatred for their character not being a shield character. More versatile and they only want Elation teammates. I mean, they can still clear without Elation teammates, though. Like, they're that strong. You don't need the actual full mono Elation team. You don't need a mono Elation Sparksy main DPS. But that shit'll probably allow you to zero cycle with ease, yeah? And yes, you are more versatile if you are able to play 2 roles as compared to 1. Yeah, exactly, Uni. Like, I'd say the people who are actually worthy of complaining about their characters falling off currently it isn't anybody from 3.x. Even My Day, who I hate on all the time, you give him a little investment with Cyrene, he's clearing, right? It's probably like 2.x characters. Those are the ones who are starting to fall off because they didn't get as much teammate shilling. Their Eidolons aren't as strong as 3.x Eidolons. Base kit is obviously weaker. So, you know what I'm saying? What do you think about Evanescia being replaced by Silverwolf? I think it sucks because we have Silverwolf and her personality slash design barely changed. I will say, if you guys have been watching this channel for maybe a few months, you know I've been hyped for Yai for a long time. I think it's been half a year or longer at this point that my prediction for Yai being the next Annie main push was technically correct, and I was waiting for it. I like Yai more than I like Silverwolf, probably. I've been so hyped for this woman. But I don't think it's the end of the world, even though it sucks. Now, I don't suffer as much because Silverwolf is already one of my favorite characters in the game. And at first, I was disappointed in the drip market and when I heard the difference. But when I saw like her wings and her hair changing, her design changing, like she's gonna be a completely different character, obviously, right? She's probably gonna be a completely different character gameplay wise, which is honestly all I could ask for. But yes, before they showed us like her new form, I genuinely thought Silverwolf being the main push was a mistake. Because all we had was her drip market where she looked damn near the same. Holy whale, Everly. I mean, Silverwolf animations. This doesn't really hold any weight because like it's kind of obvious. Silverwolf is gonna have the best animations in the game. It just is what it is. Yeah. Like, just look at Ashvale. I understand his normal follow-up animation isn't the best, but like, Ashvale is a sub DPS, and his ult animation genuinely clears like half of the Amphorius cast. And he's like some one patch wonder. At least for now, until he gets his best in slot team. That's not even the main DPS. Like, they are steadily upping the animation game more and more and more. I think Silverwolf will have the best animations for sure. I retired from whaling only E0 and 4.x, but I buy the battle pass every version. So I think you can buy a free Lycone from the shop every 2 patches. I mean, to be honest, are we gonna really nitpick follow-up animations? Like, I also agree. I think they could use a little more polishing, but like, just look at Fei Xiao's follow-up animation. It isn't even really an animation. She just like crosses by the screen and slashes them real quick. Like, follow-up animations have never had crazy animation quality because they're supposed to be spammed over and over again. Yeah. We need new units in the shop. This shit's dead. Dill in the shop on the Annie. Trust, trust. Dill is the next one going into the shop. Fei Xiao is a V2 unit. So then do you want to compare it to Anoxa? The guy who does spam constant attacks? The guy who got slandered throughout the entirety of Amphorius for his skill animations not being anything special? Like, do you guys think HSR doesn't purposely lower the quality of high frequency animations on purpose for some characters? Like, this is just how it goes, dude. Anox is a V3 character. He has the same issue. Guy just spams the same skill a bajillion times. Certainly 95% of the player base has Firefly. I wouldn't say 95%, but I imagine she's probably... Ooh, there's probably... No, she's not the highest owned. Any character who hasn't been given for free, though, I think Firefly is probably the highest owned in the game. If I remember correctly, I looked at Pridewin statistics once, and there were more E2 Firefly owners in E6 than E0s. Like, people love that woman, man. Getting a Nova Flare, by the way. You know what's funny? I recently saw, like, a 4 cost 0 cycle, which is better than most Amphorius teams. And she's getting Nova Flared. Oh, I love this character, bro. Oh, I love it. Yes, beautiful investment. Beautiful investment. Yeah, she zero cycles the current Harbinger boss with 4 cost and free May. Burp. 135 speed. Please chill, dude. Like, I'm tired of this, man. All these characters are terribly built. I had to I made this entire set for Kafka yesterday. All these relics for Black Swan yesterday. This entire Archer relic set yesterday. Like I farmed 3 different characters relics yesterday already. So don't worry, this shit's in the works, okay? It's in the works. Also, from what I've heard, Attack Boots Firefly is better than Speed Boots Firefly with Dahlia now. So that's why the speed's low. It's because she's on Attack Boots. It was 119. Yeah, I improved it yesterday. I tested it. How'd it go? 160 speed with Attack Boots versus 189 with speed didn't change shit. How the fuck are you even getting 160 speed with Attack Boots? Genuinely, like, I understand she's a pretty old character, but holy fuck, man. Oh my god. Phanon S1. Oh my goodness. We're just cheating, bro. Like, we're just fucking cheating, man. Ah, fuck. That stupid ass Lycone. Who said I play fair? Where's the Smurf hideout? There it is. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm working on all these characters builds, guys. Don't worry. And it's like, it gets even worse because now, within 2 days, I need to fully build Buff Sparkle, and I also need to fully build Heislands. I'm a building machine on this account right now. Well, yeah, the relic quality has to be disgusting, Khaled, which is my point. I'm just trying to make her usable. I'm not trying to go for fucking 0 cycles on this account. This account is like my variety account. You got a Saber team, you got a Firefly team, you got a Dot team. If I wanted to, I could go into Evernight. If I wanted to, I could go into Herda. If I wanted to, I could go to Acheron. Also has Fei Xiao, has Jade. Seal is gonna get buffed, so we'll see how that ends up going. Archer, Silverwolf. Like, this has a ton of teams I don't have on my other 2 accounts. Well, yeah, my standard for, like, usable for endgame is just 2 rolls. 2 good rolls on a relic piece, and I'll save you unless I'm trying to min-max. But I don't try to min-max on characters that I'm, like, starting to build. That's, like, a death sentence, bro. Actually, no, I did do this once, but for Phanon, when he released. Because I wanted to give him everything to make him as strong as possible. See you later, Flair. I'm farming Eagle nonstop nowadays. Yeah, good luck. It's crazy because after this, I need to farm for Dahlia Fugue. Because I don't know about Fugue, but Dahlia is probably rerunning on the Annie. Because it's 3 patches after her release. And that's when the Firefly Nova Flare comes. So I need to pick up that Dahlia, her Lycone, and then probably Fugue. What do you think Firefly Nova Flare is going to be? Okay, so this is a pretty obvious one. Because they've always exceeded my expectations, I'm going to put my expectations to where it seems like they want me to put them. Because I didn't expect them to make Buff Sparkle that strong. They are going to put her E2 in base kit and make it so that instead of her E2 being that she can get an extra turn every other turn in her enhanced state, it'll be every turn she takes is that she gets an extra turn. So it's more similar to like Phanon against 5 targets at E2, where he can infinitely generate extra turns. That's what I think they'll do. E2 in base kit, and then the E2 gets upgraded to sell in her E2. Remove the cooldown on E2? Yes, exactly. Exactly. She'll be the best pre 4.x DPS in the game at E2. At E0, no. She'd still probably lose to Mono Rem at E0. Most of her low cost zero cycles are specifically with her Eidolon investment. But yes, if you get her E2, yeah. Which is like, this was always my guess to begin with. If you look at the buffed 3.x characters, before Acheron got Cypher, and Firefly got like Dahlia, like genuinely Blade was getting pretty good clears, lower cost clears than Firefly and a lot of other characters. So the buffed 1.x characters became stronger than the 2.x ones, or you can say on the same tier, at least, right? But Firefly not only is getting a Nova Flare, but she got a specific teammate for her, which the previous buffed characters didn't. There's like this extra added cherry on top that could push her over the edge to be stronger than every 3.x team, in my opinion. Now, Mono Rem would still win at higher levels of investment. There's nothing you can do about this. Okay? Higher level investment Mono Rem is like, you know, it's unrelatable and it's broken. But for most people, Firefly, yeah, would be better. This isn't that big of a deal either, because it's like, Mono Rem's obviously going to get buffed at some point. It's going to be a while from now, but... I have no clue what her currency war ult is. Do you think Acheron or Dill future Nova Flare will put them above Firefly? No, unless they get a specific teammate. Then maybe. Acheron I could see, because I think Acheron is likely to get like a best in slot teammate for her in the future, somewhere like Dahlia for Firefly. But I'm not so sure about Dill. It also depends on when this happens, by the way. Because like if these characters get buffed in V5, then their likelihood of being as strong or stronger than a buff Firefly like increases a lot. The second you enter a new version, Nova Flare buff gets more stonks, in my opinion. You haven't done Currency Wars? No, I do Currency Wars. I just don't use Firefly. I always use Aggie. I use the Aggie team every time. It's the most fun. Watch HSR give another 5-star selector during Annie? I doubt it. If they give another 5-star selector, my guess is that it's like the last patch of the planet. Or it's like right when we go to the next planet. It would be insane if they did another selector similar to the current one after 2 patches only. What about Nova Swan? I mean, what about her? Nova Swan isn't better than Cyrene, unfortunately, I think. But if you already own Swan, then like opportunity cost makes her better. So it's like, who cares? New character in the shop. I'm going to be completely honest with you. As of right now, I prefer more selectors than characters being added to the shop. Just because every time they add new characters, it's like one new one. And with how slow they are, selectors would probably always have higher value at this point. Unless they're like, oh, here's a Robin, by the way. Hey, here's a Robin in the golden shop. That would help a lot of people for sure. E1 Robin, obviously. E2 for the speed buff. Like, if you can get that for free, people would use Robin more. I keep seeing other people saying Nova Swan is better than Cyrene. I've seen a few calculations at this point, Uni, and it is true that Swan can be better in certain scenarios, and Heislands can be better in her scenarios. But when averaged out, Cyrene ends up being better most of the time as compared to Swan. Now, here's the thing though. The Swan team has better early investment because of Swan's E1, but also the Swan team would benefit more from a buffed Wowo as compared to the Cyrene one probably. So there's, I think, advantages to the Swan team for sure. I mean, I really want them to add Robin. I don't think Robin anymore has the value she used to have. I just don't think so. Putting Robin in a golden token shop just wouldn't hurt them at all. Low key, like, people were cooking me mid 3.x for saying that Ling Sha would in the future have more pull value than Robin. But, like, if you think about it, I remember seeing a calc for Ling Sha DPS. That shit is high as hell, bro. Ling Sha DPS is one of the top damaging teams in the game with Dahlia for whatever fucking reason. E1 Robin is insane? Not really, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest. E1 Robin is still losing to a lot of other supports in this game. Is this the Firefly account? Yeah. This is the most shield character in HSR history. Could you guys guess it? Yes, deserved. Cassie? Nah. If you think about it, not even Cassie got what she did. She got she got Ruan Mei because Ruan Mei was obviously made in preparation for Firefly Team. So she got Ruan Mei, she got Fugue. HMC was obviously best in slot for old break DPSs, but mostly her. She then got Dahlia, and now she's getting a Nova Flare. Think about that. A 2.3 character is getting a Nova Flare before Dill, Jing Yuan, Acheron. Think about that. Ruan Mei mention, Ruan Mei mention.
Sound lingers.
Well, yeah, you could use Robin as a 4 slot, sure, but still, man. Still, HSR is in its like niche age. They took a note from Wuwa and started making niche supports. So it's like these niche supports just shit on everything else. At least for their best teams. I mean, I'm confident Acheron will get a Nova Flare at some point. Acheron is also like one of the most popular characters in the entire game right next to Firefly anyways. It's highly likely. But they're just waiting a little longer, which is like, in my opinion, it makes sense, right? Because Firefly didn't get her teammate buff until 3.8. Meanwhile, Acheron got her teammate buff in 3.3, right? So it's like, it is possible Acheron's Nova Flare is like near the end of version 4. It just comes a little later as compared to Firefly's. Being given for free doesn't mean anything anymore, Blad. Sparkle's being given for free and she just got buffed. They need to remove Acheron's 1 stack per action. Yeah. They also need to get rid of how restrictive the Nihility restriction is. Like, just get rid of it altogether. Or make it so that it's only a 1 Nihility thing. And then buff her E2 massively. Like, I'd say, when Acheron uses ult action advancer. Hot take. Action advancer after using ult, so she can instantly use skill again. This would mean her best in slot team is with buff Sparkle, Cypher, and who else? I mean, whatever sustain. The Herda? Yeah, yeah, exactly. I didn't even realize that, but yeah. Basically the Herda. Jiao sustain? I used to say never, but because they're buffing a standard character in Seal, I do see Jiao getting buffed at some point being a real thing. Unless they have like so little faith in Jiao. Uh, Alright, chat. I'll end the stream here. It's like 5 p.m. for me. Love you all. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Don't